What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Today we are working on my debugger, and today's topic is trying to finish up our GUI and finish up embedding a terminal emulator inside of it is the big one. So yesterday we were working on integrating a terminal emulator with a QML application. So we have this really simple example application. This is showing the output of a program that we have called our debuggy, because the context of this application is that it's supposed to be run inside of our debugger, right? So we can see that there's like a red line up here and then a bunch of other stuff. That's kind of like the extent of what we've tested here. But we sure do see a red line up at the top and then a bunch of other stuff, right? So we've got step 0 that's working correctly, which is like some amount of ANSI parsing working correctly, leveraging libvterm. We've also been working on this debugger. So here we have a second QML app that doesn't really do much of interest, but he says, I'm stopped at this file and this line, because we're running this program, we have some breakpoints, right? And if I can continue, he goes to this next line, I hit continue, he goes to the next line, and like here we can see that like he prints out local variables in the console right now, depending on which breakpoint he's at, right? The local variables that are available, he'll print those, and if we run him till completion, he says he's finished, right? And so today's goal is going to be to finish up the terminal emulator thing, and then integrate it with this, maybe get the output down here, and then, you know, if we get through all of that, it would be nice to be able to like make this GUI a little bit more reasonable, right? So like have it show local variables in the window, have it show the source file in the window, be able to set breakpoints and stuff. So I don't really know how far we're gonna get on any of this. Maybe all this will just kind of like fly by, maybe it'll take a long time, and so we will see where we get, but that's kind of like the direction for the day. And so the plan of action is our terminal emulator needs to have like input handling on him. So that's step 1. Then I want to be able to add like a cursor, right? When I type in my terminal emulator, there's a cursor here. I want to show that in our version, which means that we have to implement that, which before that, we're going to do QML hot reloading, because it would be nice to be able to quickly iterate on the GUI, scroll back. So, you know, if I want to go back in my history, that's going to be important. If we're debugging an application, we want to see what it said before. And then maybe do a couple tests to see like how real is this terminal emulator? Like, do we need to do anything extra that I haven't like thought about already? And then if we rip through all that, then we can work on like wrapping up the GUI stuff, or continuing on with the GUI stuff, I should say. So that is the plan. Happy Friday, everybody. And let's just fucking jump into it. So the way this like libvterm works is they kind of have like this. Hold on, I think I'm in the wrong window. Here we go. They kind of have this like input-output abstraction. And it's kind of backwards from the way I would think about it. But input is the program itself wants to say something to the terminal emulator. So we kind of take all of the output from our program and dump it into this function. And then there's an output callback that says like, hey, here is all of the stuff that we want to send to the program, right? Because the way that like input and output works in terminal emulators is actually kind of fucking weird, right? You type like a letter into your program. This gets converted. Generally, it just kind of sends as like plain ASCII over like a imaginary wire to the program, right? So the like abstraction model is it like you have like your little computer here. This looks like a door. Let's say you have like a power button here and like your like CD tray because you're like from the 90s. You know, and your little like hard drive indicators or whatever, right? This is your little computer over here. And he's got a wire going over to this like, you know, monitor and like keyboard, right? This is the way back, way back when. So what happens is your like programs kind of expect to interact with this thing over this wire. So input gets sent just over this wire this way, and output gets sent over the wire this way. And so if you want to do something like say like left arrow, that actually gets converted into like some like escape code that's sent over here. Then he processes it and then like kind of like sends backwards, like, could you move the cursor to the left? And so, you know, at some point we stopped using this and we started plugging our keyboards and mouses directly into our computers, you know, but you know, we still kind of have like this concept of this wire that's called like a pseudo terminal. And so like when I'm interacting with the terminal or with the program in the terminal emulator, I guess, like I kind of have to treat it like this is still the case. And so vterms that will like create the sequence of characters. If I say, hey, could you send like a control C? He constructs like the sequence of characters that needs to get sent over this wire. And then we kind of like just write it into this file handle, which is very funny, very funny. So that's kind of like how like the input system is going to work. So what's going to happen is we're going to say, vterm output set callback, right? And this is going to basically be the writing part of that. So we're going to like take whatever he tells us to write into the file descriptor and we'll just send it. And then what's going to happen is we're going to have to call vterm keyboard key, and that's going to be like us pressing a key, you know, for real. So I think that's how it works. So how do we want to do this? We kind of have like kind of this broken way of doing things right now, where we kind of treat our program like we can just run the terminal emulator till completion, which is not quite true anymore if we're going to start doing like an interactive application. So maybe it makes more sense to fix. Maybe we do both at once. Let's do input first, and what we can do is I'm actually not sure. Hold on, let me think about this for a second. So our run loop should probably wait on something. We probably need some sort of event loop, right? I'm assuming that lib vterm internally is not like mutex protected. I assume this isn't meant to be used for multiple threads. I don't actually know that, but it's just kind of my guess. So let's see if we can find like, yeah, he just kind of starts doing stuff for sure. So there's no like mutex protection on that guy. If we were to try to do some sort of loop that's like get input, send input, read output, right? That's like kind of like the main loop. I guess that would look like get input. You would need to like select. You would need to do like a poll or a select. I can't remember which one you're supposed to do. Select epoll on is there input or is there output, right? That's kind of like the two cases that we're looking for. Which means that we need to hook up on the GUI thread. The GUI thread will be running somewhere else. We'll have like GUI thread. He is going to basically say, I have input. And that has to wake up whoever is waiting for this. Now, I guess we don't really have to wake him up. We could do like a timed read here and just say like, look, if there's more than 100 milliseconds, like, you know, whatever. Here he is cooking again. You love to see it, dude. Shut the fuck up. That's my real life friend just coming here to fuck with me. So you guys can fuck with them. Get him. Say whatever you want. So yeah, I guess we want to do something like, we could do like a select poll thing, but then that means that we would have to figure out how to wake up the select on an event that's just completely software, which I don't really want to deal with. So I guess we'll just do a timed read here. And then I guess we will, how are we going to handle input here? I guess we will have some sort of like input pipe. Yeah. So here we're going to have like a handle that we return. Yeah. Okay. And this handle is going to have like a writer somewhere, right? He's going to be like, input is going to be like a stood FIFO, linear FIFO, probably. I guess kind of this is going to be like a pointer to that thing. That sounds right to me. Yep. And he's going to be a FIFO of U8s. And we are going to be like, this is going to be dynamic. Sure, we'll let him fill up as much as he needs to. Then I guess maybe we're going to be like, maybe we'll have like an IO thing here. This feels about right. So maybe we'll do like something like const IO handle. I guess this is going to be like the same thing as handle down here. It's going to look very similar. So maybe the handle thing is just going to be up like this. And he's actually, I changed my mind. He's not going to be a pointer here. He's going to own this shit. And maybe even then, does the linear FIFO, this probably has to be mutex protected, right? So here we probably have like mutex is a std thread mutex. Because surely any input that's coming in is going to be coming from another thread. I guess that's not necessarily true. But in our case, it will be. Yeah, so let's hide this behind a mutex. That's fine by me. So kind of like do it like this. And then we have our IO handle here. And I guess here we're just going to have like a function on this thing, push. And we're going to be like, I'm going to take in my handle. And we're going to send some sort of like data. I guess this is more like insert or like press key. I guess is really what's going to go here. That kind of feels more reasonable to me. So this is going to be like a key. We might have to change the key format later. Maybe we'll do something like this. Const key is equal to U8. And I assume this is going to turn into an enum later. And we're going to be like self mutex lock, defer self mutex unlock. Boom, 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 boom. And we are just going to be like input or protect self protected input right item key. That feels right to me. Okay. Then on run, maybe we don't even return this handle. We just say before you run, you have to pull out your IO handle. Feels fine by me. And here we'll be like, let's check if we have any input. So here we'll be like self IO mutex lock. I guess here maybe we'll call this like function pull input or something. This is so cool. Hi, by the way. Hello. What OS does he use? We are on Nix OS and yeah, KDE. Linux with KDE was about right. Is this for fun? Yes. Yes, for fun. We don't do anything for real. We only do things for fun around here. Okay. So presumably he's gonna be like, I'm gonna lock my mutex. Probably. That feels right to me. Sometimes I like to like try to scope the amount that this is being used. So maybe it makes sense to kind of lock the mutex for a little bit. Maybe we'll call this like get input. And here we will basically just take the stuff in the FIFO and pipe it out into an array. For now. That feels right to me. That feels right to me. I don't really have any like real reason to say that this is right, but it feels right. So we'll call this input events. Get input events. And boom, 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 boom. Then what? We just say we free this thing. And at the end, we return input events to own slice. Boom. Bing, bang, boom. If you're whoever is asking about the moving particles, oh yeah, Alex got me covered. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, you can upload your own chamber to this. This is just like a WebAssembly module. The simulation is running on the server, so you should get the same view as me on the client here. And you can like create and upload your own version of this if you check out sphereforio.dev, which is pretty fun. Pretty fun. And then like if you create and upload your own thing, I can like accept it and be like, okay, it'll be part of the global simulation now. Okay, so I guess here we just kind of yoink. So while self IO protected input. I guess technically we can make this thing before this. It doesn't really matter though. It's fine. Input dot. Is there like a read item? Yeah. So here we just say while we read an item. Or is there a better API for this? There's like also read into this destination. Can I ask how full it is? If we can do this in one command, that's kind of better. Input readable length. Does this tell me how many elements are in there? Returns no, yeah, sick. So I guess here we don't even need like an array list here. We can be like num items, and then we can allocate key num items. And then here we return red. And then we don't have to read item by item. We can just copy them all out. So we'll be like self self IO protected input read into red. Sure. Seems reasonable to me. So now this guy can just be like, I kind of want the private APIs to go down at the bottom so that it's easy to find the public ones. And then we're going to be like handle input events, or maybe we'll call it poll input. Yep. And he is going to like get the input events, right? And then he's going to do something with them. Presumably, he is going to pipe them into libvterm. So for events, we are going to like libvterm key something. I think this is vterm keyboard key, and we're gonna have to like convert our key to vterm key. So we're gonna have to be like event. We'll probably want like vterm event is equal to vterm event. Okay, and then we take vterm event dot key and vterm event modifier, and then we have to implement that. So this is going to take in event, which is right now a key, and he's going to be like return something that's like key is a lib vterm key. You might ask, why am I doing it this way? Which is a reasonable question. And the reason is I like to completely hide my dependencies because I think it's likely that I will change them in the future, right? And so by kind of making our internal abstraction not either the GUI abstraction or the vterm abstraction, that means that in the future it will be easy to swap it out. And it means that like the vterm can't leak out, which is like important to me. But maybe a little bit of extra work now. So let's look at these like vterm key definitions. So this is just a uint, and where are these defined? I'm assuming that there's like vterm key codes. Linky, thanks for the sub. Thanks for the prime. Much appreciated. So are these like matching? Okay, so for the most part, actually, it looks like these we can probably just use the ASCII key codes. So for now we will just assume that they are the same. So maybe for now, and then how do the modifiers work? Mod none. So maybe for now we actually won't do this conversion. We will just kind of assume. that we can just pass them through, because right now our key is just a U8, so we can just pass an event like this. But we will probably need to do something more creative later. But for now this will work. Okay, so now all this guy has to do is hit a little poll input. And then here we just need to do like a timed read. So I'm assuming there's like read. Oh, do you set it on the file descriptor? I actually can't remember how to do like a non-blocking read. I think you set some attribute on the file descriptor itself. Did he wrap C Levi term into Zig? I just called translate C and I fixed a few very slight issues. So yeah, there are a couple of bit fields, and Zig's C doesn't support bit fields, so I just figured out the alignment and size of the structs that were bit fields and just like swapped them out myself. Yeah, so I think you do just set non-block on the file descriptor. This feels familiar. So let's go into our terminal.zig. And in here, just on init, we probably just take this file descriptor and we call like stud os posix fcntl on our fd, which was passed in like this, and we pass in, what are the commands? Oh, we have to get the initial flags. Okay. So we fcntl fd stud probably os linux f get flags. Yep. Then we say flags or does this return some sort of like fuck thing? Just use that, so we're chilling. We set stud os linux o non-block, I think. Stud linux non-block, yeah. Oh, this is weird. So they have O as like this like packed struct, which means that flags needs to get converted to an O. Does O have like a from U32? Is packed struct represented as a U32? So can I just do like, I don't know how to handle that. Is non-blocking read is like for streaming, meaning you can read the file, it gets written to you by another process, and you can read that eventually in a loop. It's so that like basically to handle input and output from the GUI, right? So there's like GUI thread over here, and he's gonna be like press K, right? And like when I press K, he's gonna be like please, he's gonna say like terminal. He's gonna be like terminal handle, I guess. Right, it's gonna be something like this, right? And so that means that like while the application is running, normally for the normal case, we're just like, we have like our terminal thread, and he's like read from process, print to GUI, right? This is like his main loop. And we have to, if this read is blocking, that means that when this is pressed, there's no way to interrupt this, right? So here we have to be like, you know, propagate inputs is like the thing we're trying to do. Now we could probably do this with like a select and poll loop with some sort of like, there's like an event FD where you can say like, hey, wait for a read on any of these file descriptors, and then you just make one of the file descriptors like, I'll fucking poke you a little bit. But you know, I just want to do non-blocking for now. There's also stud posix f get fl also. That's probably more correct here. Can you get keyboard events for Qt? Yep, that's what I'm going to be doing. We're going to be poking the keyboard in Qt and then propagating over. So how do I like fucking do this? Can I do like, how do I cast into a packed struct? Right, like I'm missing a piece here, right? Like they have packed struct U32, and presumably I can like cast from that thing. I just don't know how. Like, is there like, I guess it's bitcast, huh? Yeah. So this comes out as a U size, which is a little annoying. we want to like bitcast the U32 of the flags because that's what the O here is. So we need to do like some sort of like weird shit where we get like bitcast truncate flags. There's no way this is how you're supposed to do it, but shut the fuck up. We have like flags O is equal to an O here. And then flags O, we set non-block is equal to true. And then we send this shit back. So then we have to go, we call fcntl with, this probably has to be tried here. Then we have to say set fl with our new flags, which is going to be a bit cast of flags O back to a U32, which will get hopefully auto upgraded to a U64. Gross. Gross, gross, gross. I'm assuming that you are linking somebody else doing this already. What the fuck? Wait, this is legal? Oh my god. Wow, I would never have guessed that that was okay. So you're telling me I can just fucking throw a pipe at that shit? You says that's fine. If that's true, I'm a dumbass. Let's get this compiling first, and then I will try that because that's crazy. This thing needs an allocator passed in now, so that we have protected equals, and then it's, what is it called? We call it input. And then here we have to, probably we need to like name this thing. But for now, we will just copy paste it, I guess. There we go. Most likely Qt also able to top pull the script for you, so you don't have to. I don't really want to like leverage too much of Qt. Qt is like a dependency as well, right? So in the same way that I want to isolate libvterm, I also want to isolate Qt. I don't want Qt running like a main event loop for me. I want Qt to just be like this small component that I happen to use for my GUI in case I swap it out later. So not going to be leveraging the Qt event loop on the Zig side for anything. You know? Okay. We are getting close. Get input events expected an argument. That is true. So here, if 151, this needs to call self dot. And then we have no alloc cached here, which we should do. So here we just type boom. Value of U size ignored at 147. So here we can go like size equal to this, and we should like just assert that size is equal to ret len. I don't think that it should ever be different because we checked the size in order to create the array. And then at 83, he's mad at some shit where this needs to be failable, which means that whoever calls this needs to write try in terminal test.zig. He needs to write try. Num calls is not marked pub. Sure, that's true. And we built. Okay, so now that we built, I want to try doing your version of this, where it's like we just write set fl. Like you're saying, I just do flags and stood os linux o non-block. Wait, but no. Wait a second. That doesn't make sense because non-block is like a field in a structure. Where is their O non-block defined? I like don't believe this. How's the vterm? It's working pretty well. It's kind of like zero documentation, which is kind of what I would expect. Where is this pubconst O is sys.o? Yeah, so I think they've defined this themselves. So I'm just not gonna do it that way. Yeah, there's some bit fields that I had to fix. I had to patch in, but that wasn't the end of the world. But like, it feels pretty good so far. Feels pretty good. Like, no documentation, but super simple source code. So I'm like a big fan of that trade-off. Like, fuck it, I can read the source. Like, we'll live with it. But we'll see. Maybe I'll find that I don't like it when we get a little more into the weeds. Okay, so now we have this like way that we can send input to this thing. So now I want to see what happens if in like main, or terminal test, I should say. Like, let's try to spawn, instead of our debug E, let's try to spawn like bash, which I think that you can just write the process name in here. I'm not positive about that. I think that this will do path resolution for me, but we will find out soon. And I guess here, if that fails, instead of just like returning like normal, oh, it's fine actually. Does fork PTY not fail? Oh, there's probably like an if less than one case. Man 2 fork PTY, 3 fork PTY. -1, yeah. So if PID is less than 0. Oh, but fork isn't the failure here. So can we just not detect when we do a fork and exec if it failed? Am I stupid for asking this? Probably. But I guess we'll just find out. So here I just want to see, like, before we run the terminal, can we just like can we just like send a fucking press key of like E X I T and a little \n? Like, what happens if we do that? PTY doesn't spawn shell by default. Nope, you can do whatever you want. Why is he mad? Oh, input right item. Sure. So this is failable, I guess, which means that all of these guys need tries on them. Okay, so nothing is shown here. However, it did end. So if I don't do this, oops, we should probably compile the code we want to run. We should compile the code we want to run, that's true. This also looks like nothing happened. So I'm kind of concerned that bash isn't working here. And I don't really want to, I guess here we can just say user bin env here. And then bash here. And that should do the same thing. Even there, he doesn't seem to be getting anything. Maybe we should maybe log a failure in the case that our exec VE doesn't work. It's probably worth doing. Exec failed, right? Just to get some clue of what's happening. Any clue whatsoever? So he actually doesn't seem to think he failed, in which case, why is this showing nothing? So our terminal run here, I guess this is just reading until there's any input. Like, he's exiting when this is 0. Which is not really what we want. We did set this to be non-blocking. We just didn't finish. Did I want it to be non-blocking? I kind of want it to block for some period of time. Is there like a timed blocking read Linux? Am I like stupid? Like Linux read FD timeout. I'm just forgetting. Oh, he just calls select on it? I see. Okay, I'm just gonna get a little lazy here. Fix me, select, and wait for timeout. But if we just instead were like, stood time sleep for, 100 milliseconds. ns per ms, there we go. Then we'll be fine. Now we need an exit condition from here, which we don't have right now, which is probably the exit condition is that somebody else externally tells them that we're fucking donezo. So here, we probably do something like, for now. This should be integrated into linear FIFO, probably. But for now, we'll just do this, and we'll just be like, exit. Okay, and this will be like, we lock our mutex, and we call exit equal true, or something. Okay, and then in poll input, I guess will be like input events is equal struct. He has an exit bool and then the keys, right? Then this will be input events. Here he'll be like bump 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 bump. Keys is equal to this, and exit is equal to self IO protected. Exit, boom, 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 chillin'. So this is events.keys here, and then here he's going to return events.exit, and then this will return true. Fix me enum better than bool, but for now, we'll do this. So now we need to somehow hook up that exit condition, and I guess for our initial test, we will run. I guess we still want to get the last right here. So I actually think we want to pull input at the end or not break here. Maybe we say var running is equal to false, and then here we say running is equal to this. And do while running. I guess this is the inverse of this, because this was giving us an exit on true. I don't know, man. 84, he's mad? Why? What the fuck? Oh, here we need to write continue here. Right. Okay. So now we should be able to be like, try terminal IO exit here. And hopefully we see, so we do see something happen. If I don't call this exit now, he's still, oh, I do have to build the code I want to run. We need to build the code we want to run. You start as false, maybe make that true. That's a good point. It's a pretty good point indeed. Okay, so now he's blocked forever, right? This is kind of what we expected. So maybe it makes sense. Again, just kind of for now. What's like the easiest? I guess we do just have to spawn another thread, huh? Spawn a thread of wait, then exit with no arguments. And this is going to be like, I'm going to sleep for 2 seconds and then type exit or something. I don't know, man. Wait, what am I doing? Why am I putting this here? This should go in a function called wait then exit. So this is function wait then exit. Okay. And I guess what I actually want to do here is I want to only call exit on the terminal when the child process is actually exited, right? That's a kind of good clue that everything is kind of stitching together correctly. So this guy's going to take in a terminal, so we're going to pass in terminal like this. And I think we also want to pass in like PID. I think. I assume this is a cint. It's a PIDT, which I don't know what it is, but we'll find out. Okay. And then here we're gonna be like, while, what is it? It's like wait PID? Oh, sorry, you're sick, Mug. That sucks. Currently working on a rework of calling convention, which in fact was triggered by Swear for himself to encountering a bug. Hell yeah, dude. Kernel Zig modules coming back, baby. That's pretty sick. Do you think it's a bug? I wouldn't have called it a bug. I would have called it a unimplemented feature. Okay. So wait PID, so we wait for a child process to stop or terminate, and so we pass in the PID. Why does it return a PID? It doesn't even say, oh, man, 3, wait. Here we go. Blah, blah, blah. So I assume that I pass in. Can I pass in null for stat lock? What is this? Seems fine. Yep. And wait, it actually turns out that wait function will cause a calling thread to become blocked until status information generated by child process termination is made available. So I actually don't even have to pass in the PID, which is kind of funny. So I can just call like stud posix wait. No, he's making me pass in the PID, fine. Which it turns out we have a PIDT. So we'll use this. And the flags are what? He calls system wait PID and cast flags on the third parameter. I guess we'll throw 0 at it. This feels like not the same thing. Oh, int options here. So it's in options. Yeah, okay. Sure. So here we'll just do this, and then once we get that, then we'll call exit. Just kind of see how that plays out. See how it plays out. So I guess this needs to be like, all of this needs to be in a block. Can I do this? Is this legal in this language? Surely not, right? Wait, it is? That's sick. No, there's no way. I doubt this will work. I doubt this will work. Wait, that actually does work? That's crazy. Oh no. Okay, I thought it was too good to be true. Okay, how do I guess we'll just allow this to return error and we'll just kind of like crash the thread. Fuck it. I don't care right now. Yeah, it's fair, but yes, it's annoying, whatever you call it. Yeah, fair. Hopefully with this change, we'll be able to write export function foo, call conv, sys, x86, 64 sysv, incoming stack alignment 4 or something, a little wordy, but obviously you can alias the call conv if you need to write a lot. Yeah, sure. That sounds sick. Sounds sick. So it looks like this probably needs to be tried here, and then the join will work. And then wait PID result. Expected error union type found wait PID result. Oh, sure. So this can't fail. All right. Are we almost there yet? We did ignore it because I don't really give a shit. And let's try terminal test now. Okay. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Bash, unknown program bash is very funny, but we did get some output there. So that... Oh, probably because we forgot that our is execve. We probably do want to pass in user bin env as our first argument here or something. Okay, so now he's not crashing immediately, but now we also are not seeing like any progress here. So this exit, I was hoping that this exit would get what we wanted. If you assign underscore from a block, you can catch after without tries inside. Oh, interesting. My goal is to fix all of the bugs you leave behind so bits of language get good just after you're done with them. Perfect. I mean, I'll take it. I'm happy to be your little bug goon. If that's what you if that's what you want, I'll do it. I don't mind. So can we do something like, can we just kill this thing with like sig term or something? Then we can see at the very least what's going on in there. So now nothing happens, which is interesting. Oh, probably we did want to sleep a little bit first. I forgot we want to do like a stood time sleep 2 times stood time nanoseconds per second. Because probably we're just sending this shit too early. That's pretty likely. So here we have 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. And then weirdly, we never get to the exit. What if we just don't kill the child? What if we just don't wait PID? Is there any output that we see? Oh, okay, wait, okay. So here we got something for sure. Okay, but we didn't get any of the input that we wrote down yet, which kind of sucks. So why the fuck not? I guess let's check that we are actually getting input here. There's a high likelihood that we didn't do this right, you know? So let's start there. So I do see a sending key exit new line, which is not promising. Oh, we never hooked up the output callback. That would do it. So we are libv terms like just eating the input. So we need to call output callback, and this is going to take in vterm as well as an output callback. And he needs to take in a pointer to some user data. Which kind of sucks because we don't have a pointer to anything staple at this point. Everything's kind of like sitting in stack memory. We could like heap allocate the field like a file descriptor pointer, but I don't really want to do that. Switch x, y to foo, z to bar, catch error works. Oh, sure, but that's because both foo and bar return the errors, I think, right? Like, I think that if you wanted to do a bunch of things in sequence, I don't think that would work the same way. I guess we can just set the output callback here. And then that way we can do like, just pass self as the pointer. And then can we do like, can we unset the callback as well? So that in the future, it doesn't accidentally call it. Defer libvterm. Can we just be like null? That'd be kind of cool. That'd be kind of cool. And then that means that we can just have like function send output. He needs callconf c. Assuming that's the right API, I actually don't know what it is. Set callback, he requires this thing. If you want to collapse any errors from a block, the easiest way is to have an inner function. Yeah, makes sense, makes sense. I was just trying to avoid doing that because I'm a lazy piece of shit. But it totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. There's a piece of me that kind of misses like nice lambdas with captures. And I get that that's kind of out of scope of what Zig is trying to accomplish. But sometimes I wish I had them. Because then like the pattern that I usually would do is I would do like you know, something like try something else. I did this a lot in C++ where I would just like create a lambda and call it right off rip just as a way to like eat early return from stuff. And like it doesn't really exist in Zig, which is fine. It's just I miss it a little bit after writing so much C++ and Rust. But I can see how it's not worth the complexity for sure. Okay, so const self is going to be a pointer cast, a line cast of user data. And this is a terminal. Boom. And then we just do terminal or self fd, yep, stood posix right, something here, self fd, with this buffer from 0 to len. Boom. And then I guess ret is equal to this, and assert ret is equal to len. I know this isn't guaranteed, but I don't want to deal with it right now. Handle early turns. Non-capturing inner functions would be nice though, without the hack where you have to extract the function from a struct. Yeah, I guess if you could just do it inline. Well, I don't know. The part that I want is the part about the lambdas that I like is being able to like pull outer scope. That seems like without that it doesn't really matter. In my mind. All right, does this build? Right, because I can't try POSIX right there because we don't return, so here will be like catch return. Stood log error, failed to write to vter to child file descriptor for terminal input, we'll call it. To Mississippi. Okay, so here he sent the stuff. We see kind of no evidence of that thing happening. top tip, almost every case where you want this, you actually don't want it. You pretty invariably get better APIs by taking context types than directly taking functions. Let me think about that. I think better is probably subjective here. I'm not sure I agree with that, but I think it's a reasonable argument. If you're like, that's the way we like it done, then I'm like, yeah, sure. Which plugin is showing you the full documentation for the stood lib functions? I don't know. I'm using hover, which is bound to leader K. I'm just calling buff hover. I don't know if there's a plugin showing that as well, but I think I think it's built in. I think. Okay, so can we test sending this shit? Terminal test, my bad. So this guy doesn't seem to think that he is sending the string exit. Right, so this should be like output sending this, right? And that's getting called one time, but only with one key. Where is the exit going? Where is the exit going? You know, so poll input. Here we are sending every key back to back to back. That's interesting. That's interesting. So can we look at a lib vterm keyboard key? If I misunderstood this API, it's very likely. So he has K here. If key is less than this function, he has key code's key that he assigns it to. And I'm actually confused. Maybe this isn't how you write text. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's the problem. Well, they have this like literal thing here. So maybe so here he defines K. And I guess maybe by default, won't this be like completely default initial, like undefined memory initialized? Which means that one of these cases has to be it. So this is function keys. This is greater than keypad keys or less than key function 0. So where's this defined? Right, so this is key 256, right? So we should be under key code function 0. And the key is greater than equal size of key code 0. Okay. So this is like a really small thing, right? Which kind of makes me think that I have a vastly misunderstood this API. Right? Can we go back to somewhere they have like the output callback? So let's look at a set output something. Output set callback. They internally just kind of like out func and out data, and they have output push bytes, which just writes to that thing. Right? They just call in here. And this kind of comes from this like printf style backtrace. So if we look for vterm push output sprintf and just like look for where that's used. It's kind of using a keyboard, right? So this is where this is how I thought it was like that. Because in this keyboard key thing, they call sprintf on this thing. But maybe they're just kind of saying like, if it's not a special key, then like fucking do it yourself. That's like a very real possibility. But what if you're trying to send a control sequence, right? If you're trying to send like with a key with a modifier, and you're just sending like a normal key code, then surely there's like, that's important, right? And here, yeah, I think I'm missing an important piece of information here. Is there anywhere else? Oh, unicharacter is probably what I'm looking for. Yeah. Okay, so generally we're supposed to use the Unicode character unless it's a special character, it looks like. Then here they have special cases for... yeah, here. Here you see like normal text, just fucking run it. Okay. vterm keyboard unicar. Oh, there's my little exit boy. Look at that. Look at that. All right. So now I guess we can say we have not quite finished implementing input though, because we need to actually get the input from the QML side. So let's start by adding our like callbacks to actually apply the input, right? So we are going to have some sort of like extern function that's going to be called like input terminal input, right? Or something like this. Terminal input key, right? And he is going to take in our IO handle, presumably. So like IO handle like this. And he is going to take in the key like this. And this is going to call why is this pub export function? Maybe that's what we want. Yeah, there we go. IO. So if let's see, we'll call this IO opt. We'll say const IO is equal to IO opt or else return. But if we do have an IO, then we can call mutex. Oh, we don't even do, we have functions in here to do what we want. Press key. Okay? Which means now in probably terminal GUI.h, we're going to have a type def of void to terminal handle. Okay? We're going to pass in the terminal handle here. And then they are going to call the function with the terminal handle. So they're going to have like a this is going to be void terminal input key given a terminal handle star handle, and the key is a U8. So yeah, unsigned car key. And maybe there's like a fix me what if car is not 8 bytes. LOL. It's possible. I'm not gonna worry about that case, but like maybe we should a little bit, but you know, really we should be using uint8t or something here, which we probably just have access to actually. Okay. So then in our, you know, terminal.h here we basically want to take in that thing, right? what was it we call it? Terminal something handle? Terminal handle. And that's gonna look like terminal handle. What's like my naming convention here? Same as Zig, probably. Handle. Boom, 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 boom. And then we're gonna have a function that's like, I think it was like Q invocable or something. You have to flag it as something for QML to, yeah, here we go. It's for Qt to generate some like stubs that QML can call into. But we say this is an invocable thing and it's gonna be called input. I forgot what we called it in the other file. Terminal input key. Yeah, so input key. 8 bits, not 8 bytes. That's a good point. Very good point. And he is going to call terminal input key with terminal handle and key. Which means that here we have to take in like a uint8t key. Probably this needs to be a type name that like Qt knows about. I'm just going to write car here. All right, that's probably most of it. I don't know if we have to do a cast there, but we'll find out in a second. And then we just need to make sure that when we make the GUI, that we know how to do that. So terminal CPV. So make GUI is going to take in a terminal handle, and he's just going to propagate that handle like this. Okay, that feels like most things are in the right spot. Isn't it going to be something like QCar? We'll find out. We'll find out for sure. Okay, last piece. In the instantiation of our application, we now have to call make GUI with the handle. So we're actually gonna call make GUI up here. And make GUI is going to be pass in the terminal IO like this. Right, that's what we said he was gonna have on the other side. Yeah, that's what we said he was gonna have. And maybe when everything builds, it'll all just, you know, kind of magically work together. So he's mad about unknown type name uint8t. It's in standard int, not standard def, probably. So include std int. He's gonna bitch about some other stuff too. He's mad that terminal handle is not defined. That's, you know, reasonable. Is that what we called it? Terminal handle? Yep. So this is going to be terminal handle star. Handle star is equal to null pointer. And then error is ignored at 191. Yep. Fix me log question mark. I don't know what I want to do with that. I just want to do something right now. By the way, what happens when the debuggy outputs tags? Will they get interpreted by QML? That's pretty funny. Yeah. Yeah, they probably will. Almost certainly. Yeah, I think that's very likely. So now nothing is happening, which kind of makes sense. Oh, I guess this is showing, which isn't what I want. We're missing a piece here where the GUI has to get like the latest version of the app, right? So when we're running, every time, at every step of this thing, we kind of need to like pull his internal state. So what we can do actually is in terminal zig, maybe we'll say, instead of calling this run, we call this step. And then just between every step, we propagate the rich text to the GUI. So here we just don't put this in a loop. Yeah, I think that kind of solves this a little bit. So here we'll just be like, you know, pull some input, run some vterm stuff. Then we will here do like while true. We won't do this thread thing. Fuck this shit. Now, because we're expecting to get input from the UI. While true, we will step the terminal. And then we will get the current string. And we will put that in the GUI. And then all we have to do is maybe we do this in a thread. And we run the GUI. We just run the GUI here. So we'll call this like run terminal. Okay. Seems reasonable. That's going to do this loop, which means that he needs a terminal and a GUI, which is terminal GUI.h. He's a terminal emulator state. And an allocator. Which means that he needs a binding for const allocator is equal to mem allocator. All right. So now we are, instead of doing whatever the thread we were doing before, we're going to be like run terminal. And he is going to take in an allocator, a terminal, and the GUI. All right. Everything's coming together, I feel like. So what is the exit condition here? Probably the GUI will tell us to exit or something. I don't know yet. We'll see. We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. So he doesn't like that I'm not allowed to send this guy as is, huh? He's supposed to be a pointer to one of those things. And now I kind of assume that, like, okay, we're getting a lot of spam here, and then nothing's happening. Which is reasonable. Which is reasonable. Okay, so now, let's not print out that fucking string every time. Now we just need to, like, figure out how to propagate the input from Qt. So I think I'm going to put a pin in this, and I think that I want to do QML hot reloading now, because I think that's just, like, I want to get this in earlier rather than later. Because if I'm going to be doing some, like, QML iteration, I would like to be able to press a button and have it show up. So I'm pretty sure that this is easy. I'm pretty sure that you just do, like, on terminal.h, I think that we basically, I was looking this up earlier, and I think it's like you just call clear component cache and then you reload it. QML hot reload. Is it this? This was, I don't think that this told me to do what I wanted it to do. Oh my god, I don't need like a fucking, I just need like a fucking 3-line snippet. Yeah, so this guy says, here's what I did. He put the engine into his static thing, and then the engine called load, and I'm pretty sure that you're supposed to clear the component cache first. I saw that somewhere. So I think it's something like clears the engine's internal component cache. This function causes the property metadata of all components previously loaded by the engine to be destroyed. All previously components for property bindings of objects or all extended objects created this thing will cease to function. Sure. He resets it. This may be useful in order to load a new version of a previously loaded component. So that's what I'm looking for. This is a little annoying. But for now, we'll just do like can we do like include qt qml application engine. Here we're gonna have like a function in here that's like reload. And this is gonna be like this. And I think this engine clear component cache, and then we probably want this to be a pointer. And then we have like qml application engine star engine equals null pointer. And then I guess we need like a public function that's like set engine qml application engine star engine that just does like nothing but just calls like engine equals engine. All right, and then here, just when we get down here, we call like state set engine or something. Okay, then I think that like the example I saw was like you bind it to a button and you close the window. Yeah. Let's just see how fucked this is. So on activated, we need to call window.close. So this gets like ID window because everything in the window needs to be known. And then we have a debugger reload. No, it's not called debugger because we are in the wrong thing actually. We're supposed to be in a terminal main QML. Oops. And we still have this called my API here. Oops, that's fine. ID window. All right. We'll see what happens. He's mad because set engine wasn't by pointer. I'm too used to Zig now. This needs to be a little arrow guy. Little arrow guy. All right, let's try running it. So if I press like refresh here, looks maybe promising. It happened once, but now future F5s are doing jack shit. Just kind of confusing. Once, twice is not working. I wonder if I have to reset up the singleton. I don't think so. Also, that shouldn't affect whether or not F5 works. Because F5 just calls, he calls window close without the reload. Right? So like, I don't really understand why the next time the F5 wouldn't work. Unless he's stuck. Can we just console log hello world here just to see what's going on? So yeah, after the second push doesn't get anything. It would be interesting to see if anything else is working here in terms of input. So can we try, maybe we put a pause in this hot reloading thing and go back to implement input again. And just that way we'll have like some sort of like interactivity to test if it doesn't work right. All right, so how do we do input? Keyboard input QML. I think it's not that hard. Yeah, so you just have keys on pressed. They have arrow functions? That's pretty cool. I didn't know that. Sure. So we kind of say, hey, anywhere in this window, fucking run it. And this is going to be my it's just going to be event key is going to get sent to my API dot something. I forget what it was called. Input key. I'm curious to see if this actually does what I expect it to do. That'd be very, very cool. Oh, we don't actually have to rebuild? So nothing here is happening. It would be interesting maybe to write in Zigland. It was in terminal zig. Stood debug print got key. Okay, let's start there. And then can we put fix me tied to GUI in a weird way? Probably shouldn't be here actually. That's okay. Okay, so I click on here, nothing's happening. Let's test on the QML side. Let's be like console log hi mom. Okay. No logs there, which makes me think the keys on press is not working, which makes me think that we have not figured this out. He writes focus true. I don't know why. But he's written focus true on like all of these, which makes me think that maybe we should write focus true here. I don't know. No property focus exists. Okay. He's also kind of saying like maybe it has to go in an item, right? So maybe we kind of throw it in here. It's possible. Right? Maybe it needs to be like on some thing. Oh, there we go. That's definitely doing something. The fact that it's always uppercase feels annoying to me. And also the fact that enter is not doing anything is also interesting to me. I also don't know how we got control C's in here ever. That's a little strange. Yeah, enter is not doing anything. And we are seeing really laggy input, but we're at least getting something, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. Okay. So what is the next thing to do? First, why is it always fucking uppercase? You know, what's going on there? Can we look at the keys QML? Event.key is not car. That's a good point. That is a good point. So where is key event is the thing that happens here. So can we look at key modifier text? Unicode text that the key generated. Oh, baby. Let's see it, baby. Now it's saying nothing. That's kind of surprising. key is an int. Oh, because the callback expects a U8 here. So we actually need to do something like this probably. Can we like console log? Let's start here. So these are getting the right keys. We're seeing this show up like this. Now, the problem here is that input key is expecting a U8. So can we like QL cast type? Like, is that legal? So can I cast like car to int? Like, is that allowed? Dude, what is this? Look at this English. To convert a text input to integer in QML, use the following method. The following method is used to convert strings to integers. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? But it does look like there's like a parse int function. Oh, maybe that's from JavaScript? This isn't what I want, by the way. Event.key is not a character. It's not what we want. It is like the key press, not like the UTF-8 associated with it, if that makes sense. JavaScript ASCII value of character. I've Googled this before. Car code add. So we could try that. Char code at 0. I assume that Q strings are not JavaScript strings, so I assume that this actually won't work. Oh, that actually does look like it's working. I'm seeing numbers here, which is a big win. So it looks like we can do this. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh yeah, baby. Wait, that's sick. That's sick. So this is weird, right? That ls is not doing what I expected to do. Does top work? Yeah, so I think that the probably the output of this thing is sending \t's in ASCII, and we have converted our QML thing into using HTML so that we could do ASCII escaping. Right, we have like spans or fonts or something. And so I think that we actually have to either strip that shit out or convert everything to its like appropriate equivalent. This is interesting. This is a problem I hadn't considered. But pretty sick, okay. So what do we have to do? We have like tabs not displaying correctly. Kind of in a more general sense, there are like special characters aren't handled right. Like \n needs to go to br, for example, right? This is if we continue doing inline HTML as our mechanism of coloring stuff. There's an alternative method of using like Q syntax highlighter or something along these lines, but that has to be implemented in C++. And I don't really know what's easier, right? If you look up like a, and I think that this actually won't be good enough because we have to be able to like bold and things as well, right? Bold, italics, like there's all sorts of things that a terminal emulator might want that aren't just color. So I think that probably the Q syntax highlighter isn't sufficient there. So I think it's more that we need to do like HTML escaping. If your debug program inject return JavaScript, can it exploit your UI? I don't think so. I don't think so, because I think it is like there's no like JavaScript callbacks in the HTML renderer in QML. I could be wrong there though. It does kind of feel like I just need to like HTML escape text to HTML. It's like something like that I have to do. This is, oh, god damn it, this is so fucking stupid. That's not what I'm trying to look up. Right, like I need to, there's kind of like multiple components here, right? There's escape HTML characters, as well as convert text to equivalent HTML. Which I guess is fine, right? We just have to like kind of figure that out. I guess each character is getting wrapped in a span, so it'd be really hard for them to fuck that up. It's more just like, is there like a tab character in HTML? Does that exist? Eems. Oh, interesting. So you could just do this for every single character, which is funny. That's kind of funny. Right? I'm assuming this ampersand syntax is just like fucking put the number. Let's see, HTML, ASCII, input ASCII character or something. This is not what I want. Also not what I want. Like, this looks a lot like it's exactly what I want. All tab characters are treated as white space by HTML parsers and collapsed into single space, except those that are in a pre-block, where literal tabs will be rendered as 8 spaces in a monospace font. I don't know if like, I don't really know how much the HTML rules like map one-to-one to like what Qt is doing under the hood. But I want to look up like this syntax. What is this called? The idiot will tell me. Chat GPT. This guy is really good at answering questions like this. What is this called in HTML? Oh, it's just still a tab character. Ugh. Is kind of what he's saying. Can I just put the whole thing in a pre? What if I just put everything in a pre? Hear me out, hear me out. Wait, 8 spaces? Is that why Katie's sticky notes has giant ass tabs? I don't know. Could be. Is it HTML? Could be. I guess like the sticky notes is probably using QML under the hood. I think all of KDE's stuff is QML at this point, if I remember correctly. I mean, that looks different. Can we like echo hello world? Echo -e hello world. What does that look like if I do this here? Is it okay? So here it is doing that. So even in the pre-block is not doing what I want. Okay, can we do like QML tab character rich text? QML HTML text. I know that there's like, what are the rules here? The text type. HTML. Can we look at, okay, yeah. You can use both plain and rich text. For example, you can define brand text with a specific font. Because use HTML markdown styling. Note that the supported HTML subset is limited. Perfect. Okay, let's look at this. Is there like a tab or like indent, table, indent? Ooh. Not really what I want. Like, I want to know like rich HTML Qt tab character not rendered. Like, is this? Dun 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 dun. He's kind of saying that like he's complaining that it does. HTML looks like this. According to W3, we strongly discourage using horizontal tabs, blah, blah, blah. Oh. That's fucking annoying. Tab interval. Maybe this is not with Qt. Yeah, okay. Well, did they say something? Tab. Yeah. Okay. I guess we could just replace the spaces. It's surprising to me that we can't do it that way. And also like the tab character has like kind of like weird properties where it like kind of like aligns itself, if I remember correctly. Yeah, VT100. There's like a spec or something for this somewhere. Where did we find this before? We were working on this before. There's like rules about how the tab is supposed to be displayed in this thing. VT100 tab rules. This looks familiar. Is there like a specification linked in here? Is this the specification? Tab function. Function keys, function key codes, blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to remember where we saw this like 6 months ago. There's like this document that defines all of the like character codes that you're supposed to process and like the rules associated with them. And I just cannot remember what it is. Like VT ANSI specification maybe? Wikipedia? No, not ANSI. Escape codes? This looks familiar. And then here, do they have citation for these these like CSI codes? So down here somewhere? Oh, ECMA, this looks familiar. ECMA something something. ECMA 48. This has got to be what we were looking at. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, this is the stuff. This is the stuff. Okay, can we look for like tab? Tabulation. Wait, where did that tabulation? This indication for tabulation. Is there not rules about like the how it aligns? Was it in like, oh, my poor brain, I can't remember. I just remember there being like, this is how I will align was like a rule that your terminal emulator sets, and you have to like the processes that use that capability to figure out how they're going to lay out. Tabulation. Line tabulation set. Oh, I can't remember. Tabulation fields. Tabulation is a technique of identifying character positions or lines and as related to the presentation component. For the purpose of arranging information systematically, a character position of a line is identified for tabulation is indicated by a tabulation stop. Tabulation stops in the presentation component interface Tabulation stops in the presentation component introduce fields and act as boundaries between fields. The field is defined as a string of character positions starting at the position of the character tabulation stop up to but not including the position of the following character tabulation stop. The order of character positions within the field as well as the order of tabulation stops within a line in the presentation component is determined by the character path of this line. Character tabulation stop is assigned to a character position by the control functions cursor tabulation control. This sounds familiar. Character tabulation set, tabulation align centered, tabulation align leading edge, tabulation. Right. So that kind of makes me think that there's something in like lib vterm that might tell us what it expects. Or maybe we are supposed to tell it what we expect. Glyph info, line info. I don't see anything about tabs in here, which is kind of interesting. Kind of thought I would. Thought I would. Should we ask the idiot again? Maybe we do. If I'm implementing a terminal emulator, where am I supposed to... How do I know when I receive a tab character where to stop indenting? Or how do I know when I receive a tab character how many spaces to add? What spec defines this? Right, so term cap. These ABS allow you to specify terminal capabilities, including tab stop settings. So if I look at like infocomp, is one of the things in here tab stop? IT maybe? IT number 8? What field in info comp is this? Oh man, info comp? I forget there's like somewhere where we can list all of the, where we can like see all of the mappings. Man term info? Oh, yeah. This is the stuff. Init tabs. So IT was the init tabs. That feels right. And then was there like tab stop in here? Yeah, okay, set a tab stop in this column. Wow, it gets crazy. It gets crazy. So there's a khts command, which says like, hey, could you set a tab stop here? Which doesn't look like it's defined here, which is good for us. And okay. So what happened? What do we get in our terminal emulator? I'm assuming that our terminal emulator is just inheriting our terminal info from tmux. Oh, okay. This is a dumb terminal. That's kind of surprising. I thought it would inherit environment. I wonder where this term equals dumb is coming from. Because I am not getting that. And we have never... we never like cleared anything manually, and lib vterm, is that what it's called? I forgot already. Lib vterm. He doesn't know anything about the child process. So how is that getting set? We can kind of look at termy as a reminder. I seem to remember having to set term equals termy, get env term, set envar termy. So we just did this on fork, which doesn't sound right to me. Maybe the term variable gets unset by fork pty. How is control C making it here, by the way? We never set any modifier strings. How is that happening? What the fuck? Hold on. We're in the wrong folder. What the fuck is going on there? Because here we are sending character codes. Like, he shouldn't know about control keys, right? Am I crazy? Right? I'm not mental, right? Oh, he's sending the key down of control. No, because he's not sending a release ever. That's actually like majorly confusing. Control, got a key nan, C got key C. Oh, this is happening in like the QML level. So they're sending the ANSI code for control 3 probably. So if I do like, that's very interesting. Very interesting. Okay, what was the other rabbit hole we were going down? We were kind of trying to figure out why the fuck our terminal is dumb terminal, which is like fine, but it's more like, why? Does like fork pty term variable, like, does it clear it? Like I don't really, I just don't see why it would. Unless like bash is clearing it when it's set. Can we just call env instead of launching bash here? And just like try to look for what do I call looking for again? I want to look for the environment variable for the terminal. I want to know if it's like completely unset or if bash is unsetting it when we get into that. I don't know why env didn't print anything. I feel like this should have been printed. Now I'm even more confused. There's a lot of things to be confused about here. Right? If I call user bin of here, it's fine. But if I call it in here, it does nothing? Why not? You know? You know? What's going on? What's going on? Can we cut the terminal emulator shit out of here? And can we just like read the file descriptor? Or maybe just calling user bin env like this isn't really fair. What if we do this just at the top of the file? Just exec ve user bin env? Yeah, okay. Oh, is it because the env pointer is null and we're like we have to intentionally propagate? I thought we kind of propagated for free. But we do have like a null, like an env pointer here that is null. Although, oh yeah, so maybe when we typed env in our terminal, bash was like resetting the environment as if it was a new logged in terminal. Which makes sense. And then in that case, maybe bash is setting the terminal environment variable off rip, and then it's getting set to dumb somehow. Bash. This feels like a ChatGPT question again. Who sets the term variable to dumb? System defaults, limit environments, maybe. Okay, this is not helpful. Sure. Okay, so maybe we assume that bash is setting it somehow. Do I have sh? I do. Oh, but that's just an alias to bash. Bash. Can I call like bash with no profile? No profile, no RC. I'm curious now about if we can force it to not do that. Not that this matters in any way, shape, or form, but it's Friday and I want to tickle the curiosity in my brain. It's in bash source code. Are you saying that or do you know that? Env not get found. Okay. So user bin env does not have that set anymore. So it could be in like my dot files also. That's like also a real possibility. And I just kind of forgot about that. Is no RC? I forget like, I don't know what these commands do. Env grep dumb. So can I like, how do I like not run, avoid running bash rc? Can I like bash the bash rc? I just want to, I thought it was no profile. Because I thought that it was my profile has import bash rc, and bash rc has all of my scripts in my bash.d. And I don't really know why, if I pass bash no profile there, why it's running my, like how it's even getting like my terminal prompt and stuff, you know? Like I would think if I run bash no profile, maybe we do like, can we like env run program with no environment variable set? env-i. Okay, so that's a clue, but he's still doing some stuff. Also, so he's calling like, oh, it's probably because bash profile, I'm probably running this twice. Ah, right. So profile is calling RC, which, so my profile is kind of useless. Okay. That's making sense to some extent. So then if I call no RC, that's a problem still because my profile calls my RC. So can I just move like profile? to profile back for now. And then if I call bash no RC. Oh, m-i, my bad. Okay, and then probably there's some sort of like global bash RC that's being called that like sets up the Nix environment stuff, and my shell is like not useful without it. Okay, sure, that makes sense. That makes sense. I'm trying to decide what I want to do. Maybe we just call it. I kind of did. I had an ambitious set of goals for today. Instead, we just basically did input handling, which is not nothing, right? This is pretty cool. I mean, it's kind of laggy. And we're missing tab is not implemented correctly. We're gonna have to fix that. We kind of explored a little bit of like term caps and stuff. So the expectation probably is that we have default tab stop of 8. And that we're supposed to align to the next thing of 8 every time we see a tab character. What else do we look at? Yeah, then we got kind of sidetracked on why like info comp is kind of showing like basically nothing. We might want to implement something. There's probably some amount of stuff that vterm does implement. What does like neovim do? Oops. How do I get out of this? It's like, oh, here we go. That's how we get out. So he is just using xterm 256 color. So we could probably do that. Probably. But a test for another day. Yeah, I think things went, smoothly enough, just slower than I thought. So thanks for watching, you guys. If you liked what you saw, we stream most days at around 12:30 Pacific time to 4 o'clock Pacific time. It is 4 o'clock Pacific time now, so anywhere between 12:30 or 3.5 hours ago and now. If you are watching on Twitch, there's a YouTube link and a GitHub link in the Twitch description where you can check out code for this project or previous streams. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a Twitch link in the YouTube description. You can swing by, say hi. And if you want to see the happy hour section, which is the 12:30 to 2 segment, those are on Patreon or in YouTube members. Let's see what else. Like, subscribe, Twitch Prime, YouTube. We'll catch you later. And Twitch, let's find someone to raid.